Guys, Election Insight here with another video, and first I want to say I'm sorry I've been away for a week. I've been trying to get this up, but I've had family trips to go on, and I tried to record a video about the Texas AG race. Let me know if you still want that to happen. I just I did record it, it just couldn't upload since I was out in the middle of Oklahoma, and the internet's not very good there. So now that we have that out of the way, today I'm going to talk about the 2022 U.S. Senate races and the implications that they have in the future. So if we start off with the baseline, right now it is a 50-50 Senate, or technically a 50-48 Senate, but two of the senators who are in the Democratic caucus, these two independents, or actually caucus with the Democrats, and because Joe Biden is president, and Kamala Harris is vice president, she gets a tie-breaking vote as president of the Senate, and the Democrats have control. So all that means that the Republicans only need to pick up one seat to win, to take control of the U.S. Senate. And for reference, if you look at the Senate map right here, here is the compilation of the current Senate. The greens are the independents, and just for sake of this, just consider them Democrats. So if we look at the predictions, I'm going to start with the safe blue states. These three on the West Coast, pretty much never going red under any circumstance. Vermont, this one is semi-interesting as there was a retiring Democratic incumbent named Patrick Leahy, who's about 250 years old. I don't know, they're considering him the oldest man in the country right now. But he finally decided to retire from public office. But the Democrat running is the Democrat who currently represents Vermont in Congress, named Peter Welch. He's probably going to win that. Vermont does have a Republican governor, but he is a rhino of rhinos, so really, I don't think he's going to run. Connecticut, I guess, theoretically could be slightly closer than the rest of these, but it's still safe blue. New York, this is the majority leader seat, plus it's also New York. It's one of America's liberal bastions. And finally, for safe blue, Maryland, and I'll put Illinois there too. So I don't think there'll be too many objections to these. With Maryland, Governor Hogan, who is term limited, is not running for Senate. He was a Republican. He could have formed a competitive campaign, but with him not running, there's no real Republican opposition in Maryland. And with Illinois, this used to be represented by a Republican in 2016, but the Democrats have a senator named Tammy Duckworth. She's pretty popular, a disabled vet who's a woman of color. She's pretty much untouchable. If you attack her, you're a racist, sexist who hates disabled vets. So yeah, you're not gonna be able to beat her. So for the safe Republican seats, I don't think there's too much explanation needed on these. In South Dakota, there is a Republican incumbent named John Thune who's pretty high in the Senate and could be the next Senate Majority Leader. But people were talking about him possibly retiring or him facing a primary challenge, but it looks like neither of those are going to come to pass, and he's going to win re-election with about 65% of the vote. Next up, do Kansas and Oklahoma is safe? Kansas has a Democratic governor, but I think that Democratic governor is going to lose pretty handily. But it could make the state of Kansas in a likely margin, but there's no way the state of Kansas goes blue. I would give away my house if the state of Kansas went blue. But then Oklahoma, again, this is semi-interesting. The Republican here is a senator named James Lankford. Some people on the more conservative side of the Republican Party do not like him and want a primary challenge. I believe in Utah, is this Mike Lee, or is this... Yeah, I believe this is Mike Lee for Utah. Yeah, Mike Lee. He's gonna win pretty easily. Nothing here. John Neely Kennedy gonna win easily. Is this John Bozeman or who's the other senator? Yeah, this is John Bozeman, but not. And this is John Bozeman, not Tom Cotton. Won't make a big difference. Missouri, some people may object. I'm gonna mark it as safe, but yeah, I do not see any Democratic opposition, significant Democratic opposition in this one. Although there is a there are a couple of serious Democratic candidates running named Lucas Kuntz and Scott Sifton. It's going to be an interesting primary for them. And on the Republican side, there's several members of Congress running, and also the disgraced former governor of Missouri who had to leave office due to a sexual assault allegation. I think he was even arrested, although there hasn't been any. I don't think there's been any action on that. In Kentucky, this is Rand Paul. Do not see serious opposition here at all. The final one I'm going to mark safe red. It's going to be South Carolina. I do. The senator here is named Tim Scott. He's a strong Republican, African American. I don't think he's going to get much challenge. Maybe former Rep. Joe Cunningham will jump in, Democrat, but I don't think that'll do anything to change the race. Now on to likely Democratic. Only one seat here. It's Colorado. This used to be a Republican bastion, but not anymore. Michael Bennet, first elected in 2010, has been, or he's first appointed then elected, I think. But he's been like a moderate to liberal Democratic senator, and Colorado's trended to the left to the point where Joe Biden got 55% here in 2020. I do not see much significant or a significant chance that this goes blue, but I think or this goes red, but I think the margin is close enough to keep it not safe blue. And for likely Republican, I see a few on here: Iowa, Indiana, Ohio, Alaska, and before I go over those, I forgot to mark Hawaii as safe blue. That's a safe blue state. No chance Republican wins there. But going over the likely reds, Iowa, it's an 89-year-old incumbent named Chuck Grassley. He's been in the Senate for, I don't know, since George Washington was president. But in all seriousness, he's very popular. He's never won with less than 60% of the vote, or at least in the last few elections. He hasn't gotten less than 60%, so this is not really competitive. Even though Iowa is competitive in nature, and that's why I'm still marking it as a likely red state, and not a safe red state. I don't see it that it's probably going to be a safe red margin, although I just want to be safe here, mark it likely. Indiana, I believe the incumbent here is Todd Young. Again, Indiana's been close in the past. Could be a likely margin. So since we're still in January and the election is in November, I went with safe and marked it likely. Ohio used to be a really competitive swing state. Up until 2020, there was a rule that no one had ever won Ohio without winning the White House. 2020 that changed. Biden won, but Trump still won Ohio. And also no Republican has ever won Ohio without winning the White House. And there's also one Democrat and one Republican in Ohio. Although this is not a flip, it's just this is the retiring Republican, and there's a competitive primary on the Republican side, but this is probably going to be about a 7-8 point race when all things are said and done. And Alaska, this one deserves its own video entirely. Lisa Murkowski is the current senator. She is a center to center right kind of figure, like barely to right of center. She's one of the most liberal Republicans in the Senate, I think, first or second, if you're ranking it that way. But Mitch McConnell, who's the leader of the Senate Republican caucus, wants her to win. But the thing is, Donald Trump does not want her to win, so he's endorsed a candidate named Kelly Tshibaka. And there's weird voting laws in Alaska with ranked choice voting and things like that, so we do not know who's going to win this election. My prediction is Murkowski holds on, although I would love to see Tshibaka win. But yeah, I believe there's also a Democrat, and if things get really funky, I guess a Democrat could win, so that's why that's likely. Now on to the lean D states. I don't see any of these states with having much of a Democratic lean, but I do see one of the states having a Democratic tilt. That's going to be New Hampshire. The incumbent there is Maggie Hassan. She won by like 0.25 percentage points last time. The Republicans are struggling to find a good candidate, but with New Hampshire inherently being one of the most competitive races, or seats, one of the most competitive states in the country, she is going to have a hard time winning, less than 1% margin. Now going back to a lean Republican, I see a few. Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and Wisconsin. All of these are interesting. So starting with Florida, incumbent Senator Marco Rubio, party apparatus is lined up behind him. Democrats are running a former governor who actually was a Republican governor at one point, and also the state agricultural commissioner is running. So Democrats have an interesting primary. It's going to be a semi-close race, lean margin, but no real chance a Democrat wins that. Georgia, Democratic incumbent named Raphael Warnock, who just won this year in a special election. Now he's having to run for a full term in 2022. This is going to be close. Herschel Walker, former NFL running back, is running. Entire Republican Party apparatus is behind him. Although Georgia's trended Democratic, I think with the new Georgia voting law, and a lot of other things, and also the Republicans in the state who stayed home for the runoffs are seeing that they can't do that anymore, so the Republicans are gonna turn out enough, and the Democratic turnout is gonna be depressed, especially with the unpopularity of Joe Biden. It's gonna be depressed enough to flip this state. North Carolina, always a very competitive state. The Republican there is a candidate there is probably going to be Congressman Ted Budd, although former Governor McCrory is also running for that seat. Ted Budd is probably going to win against a Democrat. Is it Jeff Jackson, I believe, is the guy's name? Right there. If we just pull this up. Declared, yeah, it's Ted Budd versus Pat McCrory on the Republican side. No, it's actually Sherry Beasley. Jeff Jackson withdrew from the race, and that was going to be a close primary, but they set it up for Sherry Beasley to win. And she's going to win that primary, but North Carolina always goes a couple points to the right of the country, and with the country being in an R+2, R+3 environment, the Republicans are going to win this by 4 or 5 points. Now we're on to the 3 most competitive seats that will determine control of the Senate. These are all very important, and the Democrats have to win all 3. Republicans just need to win 1. Now calling control of the Senate, it will come in Arizona. Here's why I see Arizona flipping. The Democrat there is Mark Kelly. He's an incumbent senator. He won in 2020 in a special election. In Arizona now has 2 Democratic senators. They've been trending to the left. But the thing is, Mark Kelly is a very, very liberal senator, and the only reason he won is because the Republican incumbent there, who was appointed to fill John McCain's seat after he died, was was not very popular, so he ended up winning that way. But the Republicans have two strong candidates running. One, Blake Masters, who is more the Trumpy wing of the party. He's very articulate and looks very. Uh, he, I'm not gonna say easy on the eyes. It makes me sound something I'm not. But he's very clean and very sharp, and he's gonna be a good candidate. He's got a chance to win. Mark Brnovich, state attorney general, probably the more well-known name, but Blake Masters with the money, with the most money in that primary is going to end up winning. Next up, Nevada or Pennsylvania? Which one? Let's go Nevada. Former state attorney general Adam Laxalt, the candidate here. He has a strong chance of winning against the Democratic incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto. Although polls show him ahead, Nevada polls always overestimate the Republican Party. But I still think Adam Laxalt's going to win this. Nevada, it went for Biden by about 2.4 percentage points, and it seems like it's trending to the right just a little bit. So I think that just a little bit plus a strong Republican environment due to the unpopularity of Biden or Brandon is going to be enough to flip this state red. And the final seat. Truthfully, this is a pure toss-up, but I think David McCormick, the Republican candidate, is going to beat Dr. Oz in the primary. Yes, the Dr. Oz at a TV show and all that. He's running for Senate now. I think he's going to win the primary, and he's going to beat either the Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, who's like a Bernie Sanders socialist, but he's trying to package it in a mainstream way. He's a very interesting guy. He probably rivals Jim Justice in terms of his size, maybe about, well, my guess would be like 350, but he's be John Fetterman or U.S. Rep. Connor Lamb, who won a special election in 2018 that woke up the GOP and kind of, woke up the GOP a little bit. He's been in Congress now for 4 years, and he's pretty popular. He's definitely more moderate, but I don't think he gets through the primary. He may win if he does get through the primary, but with my prediction of Fetterman getting through the primary, David McCormick beats him because I think McCormick will be able to show how far left and away from the center John Fetterman is and able to appeal to more voters. And I think that'll be enough in hyperly competitive Pennsylvania. If you have any disagreements with my prediction, let me know. Drop a comment, drop a like, or a dislike, although they don't show dislikes anymore. But drop a comment, drop a like. Thanks, and gig 'em.